Hello and welcome to Jo-ttack on Titan. I'm Jim.
I'm Sam.
And I almost forgot the name of the show.
You forgot one thing.
So, if only I had someone to re-jog all of my memories. If only Historia would touch my back and all of my memories would come back.
The muscle spots on your back. I think you forgot to say it was also Titan Tuesday.
It is Titan Tuesday, yes. Thank you for reminding me. So it's Titan Tuesday. We're here to talk about Attack on Titan. We're Attack on Titan Rewatch Podcast. We rewatch it so you don't have to.
He's Doug Walker.
So, I'm Jim. Did we do that already?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're Doug Walker.
I'm Doug. You're.
I don't know which channel awesome character
Which one do you relate to the most?
None.
You really. You give me like Linkara vibes sometimes.
Because I watch Power Rangers
and comic books. All right.
Okay, I could be Linkara. We have Angry Joe's already taken out of the our
oeuvre.
Yeah.
So we're here to talk about Attack on Titan season 3. We've made it to season 3. We're talking about the episodes 4, 5, and 6 of season 3, also known as episodes 41 through 43.
AKA the revolution and the plot dumps.
The revolution will not be televised. It will be concluded very soon.
Yes.
So I wish I kind of failed. I failed. I wanted to read the manga up to this point before we got here.
You were so baffled from the choice. Some of the things you read, you just had to stop.
I did start reading it, but my life has been so hectic lately that I have not had a chance to really dig into it. So
you save to the end. Some of your experiences so far?
I will, but what I wanted to say is, allegedly, I cannot say with any. I can't say this with any real certainty. But what I've heard from a lot of people say. What I've heard a lot of people say is that this arc was really condensed in the anime. Apparently, there was a lot more going on. There was a lot more moving parts, and it was pretty condensed. And I've gone through Attack on Titan already, like the anime. Having gone through it and seeing it again, it's kind of hilarious how it is so quick. Like, this whole Revolution arc is like, they want to spend as little time as possible with it.
Interesting.
What did you...
It felt like that.
Because it was really like, it started and ended in this like
there was a lot,
season.
Yeah, it was kind of funny how quick that revolution ended, but then like just then afterwards like that, you just bombard it with plot dumps, and like it kind of gets like overwhelming
compared to like season 1. So season 1, a lot of time passes, like literally, like like years.
2 years at least.
5 years.
You mean including the flashback of them as when the Titans first broke through? Or?
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. That's even more. That would be like. I think it's at least 5 years. Whatever. But a lot of time passes in that compared to season 2, where like it literally happens in like 2.5 days. And then season 3 so far seems like it also has been very short amount of time since 2, and also very condensed as well. So it's funny that like. Things are moving so quickly. Like,
yes.
All of the like. So at the end of season 2, our characters were not like considered public enemies yet.
No,
they were still like working with the scouts. Then in this season,
it was literally a scouting mission where like
exactly, and that was like, yeah, there were. There's kind of like a 2-pronged thing. Whatever. There's a lot going on in season 2, but we started to get like the breadcrumbs about this like conspiracy. So with Pastor Nick was kind of like the guy that was setting it up. And of course, last episode of our show, we talked about how Pastor Nick was tortured and murdered by
basically all the lead up,
the interior guys.
All the lead up going into it with just like Historia, she's the key. Historia, you must get to Historia, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So basically, in this arc, we do see the kind of conclusion to that. To me, it really feels like they knew that the interest is really within EREN and Historia's story right now.
Yes.
So they wanted to like shuffle that quickly away so they could focus on that.
No one cares about the revolution of like scummy government stuff, shady government shit, and then like our heroes and just getting in the way of it. Like, people don't want to see human versus human conflict. They want to see the human versus the Titan stuff going on.
I think that's probably true. I would contest, like, I think some of it's interesting. The thing though is like all of these elements were very backstory, or they're very background in season 1. Like, but all the stuff with like the military and stuff was only just because it was relating to EREN. It was like, okay, EREN is now like a weapon of mass destruction. What is he going to do? We need the military tribunal to figure this out. But now it's like the story wants us to care about this whole thing because we have Erwin, we have like Zackley, Pixis, all these characters now that are like higher up.
Yeah.
So I can see why they're spending on it, but I want to see Historia, goddammit.
Well, I meant like the anime knew that, where the manga could probably I don't want to draw Titans for like
maybe
for like months, so I'm just gonna do this conspiracy government like revolution stuff.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that it's not interesting, but I certainly I like that Hanji gets a lot of focus in this arc. I think that's probably one of the highlights.
I'm glad to see like Hanji and like you get resolution with the whole merchant being murdered stuff, and just kind of seeing the plan come together. That's not just like everybody's betraying you now. Yeah,
and I think this stretch of episodes does continue to be satisfying. Like seeing like plans happen and plans succeed is always good in the show.
And the show has spoiled me with too much of like, oh, this is just us acting or pretending it was like a thing. Like I'm just like half the time I know that's coming. It was like this is just a drill. Like
yeah, we'll get to that. But let's jump right back in. So last we saw our Levi squad is now kind of on the run, and they're just like living in the woods.
We get the return. We had Joshu and your girl.
I wrote it in here. A Hitch and Bitch. I wrote Hitch and Bitch are captured. It's Hitch and Marlo.
Yeah.
Marlo is Joshu.
Yes.
So
replacing Marco.
Replacing Marco is Marlo.
Yes. Don't get confused with Arlo dressed up as Marlo.
Arlo is in this show. He's one of the scouts in the background.
Your favorite.
So we have
you're Kenny.
You really launched me at, like you freaking derailed me for a second. I forgot what I was talking about.
Arlo does that to
mentioning
you.
Arlo
Does
hit video game YouTube puppet Arlo.
Like many other characters, you just get mind broken by like one thing.
by the sight of Arlo. So long story short, what happens here is we have this kind of like Hitch and Bitch are trying to find Levi Squad. They get totally ambushed because Levi Squad, they're all just big-brained maniacs.
Yeah.
What ends up happening... So, there's a lot of cutting away. I kind of just want to talk about their story first, and then we'll talk...
It just kind of... we should probably just stick to the character arcs that just happen here.
We did that before in another episode, and it worked really well. So, let's follow this little, like, Hitch and Bitch
Hitch and Bitch,
timeline.
We have the Hanji stuff, and then we have the Erwin stuff.
Yeah.
So
we have this whole thing where Hitch and Marlo get ambushed.
Yes.
And then they're
captured. They're said, we're just going to use their uniforms to sneak into this camp. But, eventually, the whole thing goes, they're going to let them go. But Jean does do a test on them, essentially.
Which I love.
Because Marlo just said, like, I want to be good. Like, I joined the wrong group. And basically just, like, because we saw that earlier when we had the whole Annie stuff. About,
at the end of season 1.
He wanted to, be a good military policeman.
And he was clearly in the wrong field because... I love that one scene when Annie... The part when he gets, like, beat up by the soldiers and Annie's standing there and Marlo is just like pounding his fist on the ground, being like, I want to change, but I can't do it. And Annie walks up to him and she's like, I will help you kill those guys. Like, do you want to kill them? I'll help you right now. I miss Annie. Where is she?
In another hole in the ground. There's so many holes in the ground in this fucking world, man.
When do you think Annie's going to come back? I'm curious.
Second half of season 3, probably. Because you gotta use their healing factor unless you get Eren to eat her.
We'll see. Oh, speaking of eating, we get to talk about that a little later. So, as you said, like, I want to just talk about the scene where Gene's whole thing here is he's, like, pretending to be crazy. He's gonna, like, kill Marlo with a fucking gun.
A gun and a knife. He drops it conveniently. Oops, I dropped my big knife.
My magnum knife.
Or my magnum plan.
But I kind of like this here. I think this is actually pretty smart writing because the last we saw of Gene, he was like really fucked up that he didn't have the courage to pull the trigger, like with the whole thing with Armin. So it almost kind of feels real for a second because it's like he's overcorrecting now. He's like going crazy.
No more loose ends.
Yeah, but then of course we see it's a test and the gun that he was using was actually just a branch. And then we have the funny comedy scene where Hitch hits him with a big club.
Or a branch.
Yeah, something like that.
And they join it, and then they basically just storm the camp and easily off camera just get it all.
Yeah.
Gives them all horrible tummy aches and captures...
It does look like they all have horrible tummy aches.
and captures Mr. Mustache Man. And
yeah. So we can go back to that later because that's a little more relevant later
Yeah.
once Hanji's story kind of concludes. So
Yes.
the other thing we have here is Flugel, who is the merchant's son of the merchant Demo, who was the guy from season 1. This is the thing. I'm like so on the fence here because like this particular mini arc that we're talking about really wants to like flesh out these like nothing characters, and they give them arcs. Like Flugel here has a whole character arc.
Yeah,
But to what end? Like, I don't know if I really care about him.
Wait, it's like the Pesci arc in Grateful Dead in Part 5, where you see him grow. In one arc, you just see him grow from pathetic shithead to the leader of the company to protect the people.
But I love Pesci. Like, I love that.
They're both fat guys who has their father figure killed in front of them.
You nailed it. We also have a funny scene where we get teased the whole idea of the journalist. So, like, there's, like, a young journalist guy who's like, hey, we need to ask about the murder. Like, was this murder really done by the scouts? And then the old journalist guy is basically like, oh, no, we cover everything up. Like,
technically,
he's like, we don't actually ask them questions. We just, we make sure that we don't die.
Hashtag fake news.
Basically, this is a big hashtag fake news arc.
But basically, he's running away because apparently they witness him witnessing the murder. Somehow,
yeah, they find him, and then Hanji has a big epic
steal.
Yeah, she steals him,
and then just argues with him on the rooftop. Essentially, just like they basically lead up to like we're gonna have a big plan where you're also gonna do another fake out. Like, oh no, you captured me. Tell me why you killed my papa.
Yeah,
and then it's like, it was a ruse, and everybody witnessed now to your crimes, and we're going to hold up the newspaper by gunpoint later on and make them all print out the real news.
I mean, that's literally the whole arc. You literally just summed all of it up.
It's
like
so funny.
The few things I wanted to point out about that is I really do love the one thing I do like about the scene is when Hanji takes the guy and she's like, all right, I have a plan and you're going to risk your life. He's like, fuck no, I'm not going to risk my life. I didn't join the scouts. Like, I'm a human. I'm a normal civilian.
Like I said, Hanji failed like the speech check.
Yeah, it's really funny. It really feels like that in that scene. But it honestly, like, I kind of wish that it didn't just have him team up with her at the end, because he makes a really valid point of like, the scouts have just kind of signed their lives away. They're willing to just die. But he is like...
He wants to avenge his father.
Yeah, I think that's really what drives him. It's not like... He's able to like put away his fear to do it.
He wants to avenge his father and do what the company's goal is to do, which is to protect the people of the walls.
Which is like... I do have to say... This is like a hashtag based mercantilism win here. Like, it's kind of... It's really fucking funny that we're like making the independent capitalist merchant like the guy that's going to be the one that saved the city and not the government. Like,
the merchant sits on the head of the police, the corrupt police.
Like, honestly, to me, like in the short term, this arc feels nice. Like, oh yeah, it's nice. The community's rallying around this guy. But in the long term, I mean, look at the other guy. Look what happened to Demo, his dad. He just got corrupted by the government.
Well, the good thing is he had a whole moment of with everybody in the town witnessing it. Like, you mess with ones of us, you mess with alls of us.
Yeah, but I don't know. To me, I feel like this guy is like a ticking time bomb. Like, he will just become as corrupt. I mean, it's capitalism. We know it's like.
I mean, but now
what it does to people.
But now the government, you know, kicked all the corrupt for the Four Horsemen, essentially. Like,
I don't know. I still think that this guy is like. I think it is so hilarious that this is like a win here.
I don't think it's relevant because I don't think he will appear again.
We'll see.
As an important character.
Wait till you have the Flugel arc where he becomes the
Flugel, the merchant titan. The ginger titan.
I want to say something, but I can't say it. It'd be a massive spoiler. All right.
Oh shit.
So,
we talked about the
sorry, wait. There's one, I write a lot of notes and I never look at them, but there's one thing I wanted to say. So when they are trying to win over Hitch and Marlowe in the earlier scene, Hitch doesn't know. It's like she doesn't know that Annie is the female Titan.
Yeah, they don't know anything about what happened to Annie.
And she's actually worried about Annie. Like, she's like, I haven't seen Annie in days. I think she was killed in your horrible operation that failed.
She stepped into the jelly.
Yeah, and then Levi's like, I can't believe these idiots don't even fucking know the truth. And he tells her.
And just breaks her immediately.
And then, okay, so, yeah, epic mercantile moment from Flugel.
You just have the Irwin stuff now, right?
I think that kind of gets tied in. What really was the Erwin stuff? It was mostly just him in prison.
Him in prison, talking to the one guard that seems to be the one, because you asked about his family, like the one good guy, I guess.
So he was, I think his name is Niall. I think he's like the what's his name? He's the Erwin of the military police.
Okay.
Like he's like that rank. He's like basically the highest guy. And they didn't really say too much about it, but I kind of inferred that they were like in the same graduating class.
Okay.
So I kind of compare them in my brain. I compare them as kind of like an Eren Gene thing.
Okay.
But like, what if Gene was actually like an asshole and he did join the military police? Like, this is my headcanon basically. I kind of see a parallel.
Yeah.
For that,
it can add up, but yeah, basically he talks to him. They're basically saying, "Oh, you're going to go to trial." Essentially, they're already getting the gallows ready. It doesn't look good.
We're gonna have a trial for you, but the gallows are already built, so
they don't go to waste at least. But yeah, so and he gets like, dragged to the trial.
Oh, the one thing. So when he's talking to Niall, he's like, "Hey, Niall, how's your wife and kids doing in Walrose?" And he's like, they're fine." Very menacing.
As he does. But yeah, he basically goes to the royals, to the 4 evil bad guys.
The council will see you now.
And the menacing throne sitting of the king. And basically the whole revolt happens. Like Pix, like there's a couple like misdirect like trial stuff. Like Pixis tried to play like, oh, I'm not really related on anybody's like on his side.
Yeah.
And but then basically Pixis Zachary revolts, who's like this guy we never met before.
We've seen Zachary before.
We've seen Zachary before?
Yeah, remember they called him Zachley in season 1? They showed him, he was the guy that was the judge at Eren's trial in season 1.
Oh, okay.
Very minor part.
Very minor.
You would be completely forgiven for forgetting about this minor character,
yeah,
who is now extremely important.
The psychopath, weirdo fucking man named Zachary, and then, Pixis also revolt, and basically you're 4 gone. Also, the king's a sham because he's literally just the Mandarin from Iron Man 3.
He's a dotard. As we had to look it up, because I was like, what the fuck is a dotard? Because like one of the
it's a slur on the ranks of Kyle.
It's a slur against old people.
Yeah.
So like so there's this council, and there's a line right before everything falls apart. Actually, it's like right when he says the dotard line. He kicks the king, and he's like, "Wake up, you stupid dotard!" And then we looked up what dotard means, it means like an old person that is like disabled or like can't take care of themselves. Yeah. So I mean, kind of a mean thing to call a person. I wouldn't call an elderly person a dotard.
But yeah, the revolution's successful.
Wait, there's one other scene that I want to bring up. I want to point out. So when everything's falling apart, right before things fall apart, so during this like fake, because the girl runs in and says, "Oh my God, Walrose is broken into." The one guys, the military guys or the council are like, "All right, we'll just like seal off Walrose. We'll let them all die. Whatever, no big deal." We already have the vessel, or he's like, we already have the what I wrote the freaking.
He said the word vessel like twice.
He said, okay, he said we already have the power. Now we can give it to the vessel. Those are the words he used. So clearly, these guys are very aware of like EREN and and Historia, and they have like fucking code names for them.
Yes.
Interesting. So we at the time we didn't know what they meant, but.
Vessel, I guess, is they are doing something with all the memory stuff, as we know, as we learn.
Yeah, that's kind of like the big reveal. So let's get to.
But basically, they have their speech off the gallows and everything. They can't have the gallows go to waste. They built them already.
Yeah, but basically, this is an epic win for fucking militarism. Yeah. I have to say, the way that this arc presents the changes of the world make it seem so positive, but we literally have a military coup happening in front of our very eyes. And it's treated as a good thing.
And they're also like, oh, don't worry, the leader will come up later on. Don't worry about it. It's coming.
These are the things that people don't point to when they should. When people make the argument that Attack on Titan's fascist, these are the things that people should point to. The fact that they have a military coup and it's a good thing. It's a very good thing that we had a military coup.
It's fascinating. And,
I would say fascinating.
Fascinating. Yeah, Niles is a good moment of just like, I'm not following you guys, essentially, and basically they're just gonna head off, and everybody's busy converging towards the church.
Yeah.
And so basically on the...
Oh wait, that's the one. So
well, yeah. I was like we cut off with Levi like on the wagon, essentially on the way there, and they learned. They say
so. There was one scene before that. So where Hanji does once
Hanji meets up with Levi, so I was like the hostage mustache guy they were interrogating, and
because that's when they got news of the coup.
Yes.
And then once the coup happened, they
got a letter from
they
Hanji.
were basically like, what's the word? All of there was no crimes against them anymore. There's a word for that. They were pardoned basically for the crimes that they were.
They have a clean slate now.
Yeah.
Except those 12 people that Levi murdered. It's fine though.
Oh, I thought I wrote something.
Well, no, like they're on the wagon. They learned that, but like they'd say about the Ackerman. They find out that Kenny's name is Kenny Ackerman.
Okay, yes.
And I knew Levi's name was Levi Ackerman. I knew Mikasa was Mikasa Ackerman. I'm like, they could be related. It could just be a common fucking name, but like,
no.
Yeah, but Levi's like, oh, I didn't know his full name, even though he wasn't really surprised by anything. He just like, I've assumed it was like his uncle or adopted dad or something. He just took on the name maybe, or just like rejected the name at some point.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we don't, unfortunately, even though we did watch the OVA about Levi's backstory, Kenny was mysteriously not mentioned.
I don't think Levi's last name is mentioned in that either.
No, but yeah, his name is Levi Ackerman.
Yeah, but then he asked like, yo, Mikasa, you haven't said a word this entire 3 episodes. What's up with your last name? And she's like, I don't know. Then the last name was always weird with my family. Like, we don't know much about, like, it was always like the Ackerman side was always exiled or hated by the city.
Yeah, we do get, so Mikasa, we know this as the audience, but she mentions that
Mikasa talking about something that's not related to Eren other than the child murder part, because like
frankly it feels out of character.
Yeah, because it said like, oh, did you ever have a moment of like you just powered up for like your power level went up like 10 times? He's like, oh yeah, but I murdered those guys that one time
when I killed the fucking child traffickers.
Yeah, and Kenny had a moment like that, and like. So
Levi said that he also feels like that when he enters certain like modes or whatever.
Yeah, when he hits his black flash.
Yeah, when he gets the black flashes, he feels that way.
And so, but yeah, it said like there was like 2 like factions that like essentially rejected the royals or like the government essentially, which was the Ackermans and the Oriental.
The Scott Ackermans.
The Scott Ackerman and the Oriental.
And the Oriental clan. They use the word Oriental clan here.
So and essentially like that's what her mom is in Oriental clan, because she referred to her as that, and her father was an Ackerman, and I'm just like, and then because they saw like, oh no, this is going like the Uchiha shit of like family getting wiped out because they had to clean up their mess, because now it doesn't feel, since both those sides of the family are related to anti-government stuff, it now seems okay. This wasn't just a weird case of what's it called, child trafficking or.
Like it may have been something else,
or may have been the government tipping off traffickers to go maybe kill the dad and then take the 2 to do whatever they want with them.
That honestly feels
like a fate
more
worse than death.
That feels pretty fine to me, especially the fact that like the traffickers literally said like wanted to traffic the mom. They wanted to kidnap her.
He's like, why'd you kill her? She was like literally like one of the biggest selling pieces.
Yeah. So to me that reads like that. People accuse Ishiyama of like retconning things a lot. So like that's a time where it doesn't feel like it doesn't necessarily feel like a retcon.
No.
It feels like fine.
Yeah.
But I could see like if they did have a scene later where there's like one of the evil mysterious military men was like, I want you to go kill Mikasa Ackerman. Like no, they didn't do that. They don't have that. I want you to go
kill the Ackerman and the Oriental clan member.
Yeah. But okay, now that we're talking about this, I think it just makes sense to talk about Kenny's flashback. Happens a little bit later, but
it's very brief flashback. But yeah, so, him talking to his grandfather, bloodied ass, trench coat.
There's a line where his grandfather's like, were you out killing military police officers again? He's like, maybe.
Oh, you.
Like, oh, Kenny the Ripper.
We all know 90% of those are corrupt anyway, so it's fine, I guess.
That's true. They're not people.
Oops, that was my water bottle cracking like very loudly. I didn't even like squeeze it.
That's fine.
That's a loud pop. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. So in this scene, in this flashback, pretty enlightening flashback, they do mention the whole thing about the. We keep saying Oriental. We're saying it because it's said in the anime. We're not choosing to say this.
Subtitles literally said like Oriental clan.
I really wonder what the original Japanese is, because obviously the word Oriental is a very Western created word. So I wonder if there's like an equivalent, or if I don't know. I have no idea. This is just 2 Occidental boys talking about Oriental things.
Shut up now.
But okay, so this is like Kenny's dad. or Kenny's granddad.
Yes.
Because Kenny basically says like, weren't we like? He said that basically talked about like how the Ackermans are persecuted, and this is something that was also mentioned. How like the Ackermans were allegedly, or they're rumored to be once like the right hand man of the king. Like they were like the sworn guards of the king.
King's guards, yes.
Which makes sense because apparently they're like genetically superhumans,
super soldiers.
But he's like, but we are here. What we're persecuted. We're like not allowed even like near the king. And the grandfather's like, well, the king's not afraid of us, or the king doesn't dislike us. He's afraid of us because they are immune to the powers of the king. Because they talked about how. So we'll get into like the EREN stuff in a minute, but like we learn about like the memory, like the the memory wiping, and like the what all that stuff that these like this power of the Titans can do. But apparently, they mentioned a few certain bloodlines weren't affected, which were the Ackerman. And the Ackermans apparently, I'm guessing they were, it's not said here, but it seems like they weren't going with the king. They didn't like that the king was altering people's memories, so that's why they are persecuted and, I guess, fled the king.
I guess so. And yeah, and then that's basically
that, but then...
Because they make it to the church, essentially, and then about to go in there, but that's basically like where we cut off with them, and now we talk about the ERENs and Historia stuff.
So this is probably my favorite part of this little section.
EREN is like chained up in a crystal cavern.
It's a really cool set. I love the way this setting looks.
It's weird. This is under a church.
Yeah, I like how quickly, because like we see the stairs at the end, and it's really funny how like quickly the stone bricklaying of the cathedral ends and all the caverns start forming.
Also, on the way, we learn about, we talk about Rob, his family and everything, and what happened to them, and like how they were all in a building, and the church, and they're all together.
They were praying.
Yes, and then bandits lit the church on fire, essentially, and it was botched robbery, and the father's the only one that escaped.
So, yeah.
Even at first, it sounded like, Jim, this is like, I know enough true crime, I know how suspicious this is.
So, yeah, it killed everyone in the family, so that's the mother and then the 3 children.
But they put emphasis on the oldest daughter.
Yes, Frida, who we learned Frida.
We always see the back of for a split second, but immediately I knew exactly who it was when we see the next thing with EREN.
So, okay, wait, was that it? I think that was one of the things I wanted to say. Yeah, no, okay. So then, yeah, we get EREN. EREN is chained up. Historia, hilarious scene, walks up. EREN,
well, boom, before.
It's fine.
Well, before that, when he wakes up, he sees himself as a woman, essentially.
Yes, so he does have a scene where he sees he's looking into a mirror, and he sees himself as a young girl,
which I knew right away it was
Frida,
because it looked just like her, like the same hair.
Also looks just like EREN.
Yes.
If EREN just like grew his hair out, he would look like.
Is it really weird
this
to
girl.
me? I'm like, could this actually be EREN's mother in a weird way? But like, I forget what EREN's mom looks like.
No, she has like brown hair. Yeah, she looks like a mom. Think of like anime mom.
EREN's
That's what
adopted
EREN's mom looks like.
And his adopted dad.
The one thing I wanted to mention, I wrote it down. So the timing is very important here. So the report of the fire burning the cathedral down was 5 years ago, just a few days after the wall Maria was broken into.
Also, the fake flashback of like them in the church together, where we learned it actually underground in the crystal cavern. They were doing it, their ceremony.
The fake flashback.
Because they talking the story about what happened to the family. They were like, they showed them like above the church, like holding hands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in this really small chapel where like they're actually
they're all wearing these white cloaks too. It's pretty fucking creepy.
Yeah,
but the big detail there is like when it happened. So this was a few days after Wall.
Yes.
Wall Maria. Wait, was it Wall Maria or Wall Rose? Whatever the one that Bert kicked.
And only a few days.
5 years ago.
And like a few days before we got that Historia flashback when her father came for her.
A few days
before. Yes. Because after her family dies, when he goes to get her.
Wait, did I write it down?
It's like 2 or 3 days.
No. This was actually a few days after.
I thought he did it after, because after he lost his. Because he said after he lost his family, he thought Historia was the last one left, so that's why he went to her.
I think.
Mother. I'm pretty sure they said that.
So I have it written down here.
Unless that was just a hypothesis they were making.
So I think what happened was that day that the wall kicked in, he went to her. And then, because Hanji's report said just a few days after, Historia's mom died. Oh, the way I wrote this, I could read it either way. I'm not sure. I think it's supposed to be whatever.
It doesn't.
The timing doesn't really matter, but it's important to know these things happened around the same time.
It's kind of why he was just like kind of like vacant for the most part of when getting her.
So yeah, and then we have the Frida dream.
Yes.
Where he sees himself as a girl brushing her hair.
And then
he freaks out. He has like a minor freak out, but honestly, understandable.
So yeah, this is when we get the huge plot. So first of all, Historia comes off of my Eren, my father is not evil. You guys got it all wrong. He didn't have a choice. He said, "I'm like, oh, that's like evil bad guy 101." Like
that part was actually hilarious. I wish that she had a moment where she like realized what she said and was like, "Wait, no, none of that makes any sense." It's like, oh yes, my father had to kill all those people. Like no,
it's really dumb.
So this is the big like. So this moment, so what happens here? So Rod Reese, and Historia both go behind Eren. So Eren's chained up on like the pedestal or whatever.
His arms like bandaged up and like
looks like his fingers have been sliced off as well.
We don't know because they're just like heavily bandaged that we just can't really tell what's going on there.
So it's kind of weird because I just want to point something out. So the thing you need to do to activate being a Titan, it's not to hurt yourself necessarily.
It's like to pierce your hand.
It is to have an injury.
Yeah, okay.
So they're like, remember when Mikasa like slashed Reiner and like Berthold's throat?
Yeah.
Since they already had like an injury, they were able to activate their Titan thing. So I think it's kind of weird that maybe Eren is like, I don't know. I don't know why he can't just Titanify right now. Maybe he just doesn't realize he can do it. His trigger is like the hand bite, I guess. He's still new. He's still a new Titan user.
Sucks at it, but
he's kind of shitty.
But yeah, so they explain a bunch of shit. Not sure you have it all in order on the phone because it's a lot.
So what happens initially? So there's kind of like two major flashbacks that happen here. At first, Eren, so Rod and Historia both touch Eren's back. So then like lightning happens.
They have like a memory rejogging power.
Yes. So this is something that like,
or at least Rod does, and Historia is kind of going along with it because he doesn't really understand it 100% right now.
Well, it's funny because Historia actually gets memories rejogged as well.
Just because it's touching Eren, though.
Yes. So this whole scene is basically like, first Eren sees through Grisha's eyes, through his father's eyes, like what happened. So this is where we learn, finally, that Eren killed his dad.
Interesting.
He ate his dad. He got turned into a Titan and ate his dad.
Which is, I guess I need to, because like this. Okay, you said this thing happened before the wall, just after the wall broke.
So okay, think about the timing here. Remember how Eren had the key?
Yes.
After, like, remember there's like a bit of a time skip.
Yeah.
From the first episode to like a little bit later when we see baby Annie and like.
Yes.
So Eren had the key then, but he didn't have the key before. So. There's time missing. Like we see Eren as a child here, so it must have happened.
Because at that point he had to go back to his like home where you see his like as was everybody essentially.
His home.
His we see his mom gets eaten by a Titan.
Well, if you remember, Grisha left.
Yes.
That morning.
That morning, which is weird.
Don't know where he went.
Yeah, we don't know where he went, but we know the whole thing happened at night. It looked like because.
Yeah.
Because that's when Eren ate him, that's what happened.
Yeah, but so we really don't know, like, any more specifics. All we know is that through this flashback, because then we get it kind of retold later, we see, like, a more clear...
Yeah, it cuts to that because of Historia's flashback of hanging out with Frida and having a great time where she never really was alone. She was, like, always checking up on her sister. This
scene, like, actually breaks my heart because it's really sad when you know her backstory.
Yes.
Because she talks, like... I taught myself how to read, and I was always happy. Like she knows that she was always happy, even though she was lonely. And it's just so heartbreaking that like all this time that she spent with Frida, she didn't even know she was real.
Yeah.
And then the moment when she realizes, she's like, I want to see her. Like, where is she? And then Rod is like, Eren's dad fucking killed her.
He ate her.
He ate her. She's the fucking power of the Titans.
Yes, which is interesting. Because they said this is something that's been passed. Because they do say it's a thing that's passed down in royal families. There's like a weird ceremony and everything. So, not sure if just the eldest child gets it or something, or...
Yeah, so what's interesting is Rod didn't have it.
Rod doesn't have it. His sons don't have have
it. Looked like Frida was the oldest.
It's just Frida, because she goes in there to like defend them. So basically we get what actually happened that night, essentially, where the dad shows up, turns into a big, fat, bearded.
He's a humongo titan.
And basically, since she had no real combat experience, she was like beaten really easily and like essentially in and eaten. And then Eren's dad just crushes like every member of his.
He just murders the whole fucking royal family except Rod.
You probably go berserk after eating somebody, I'm guessing. So
that honestly makes sense because that's like Eren doesn't have memories of when he ate his dad.
It's kind of funny when you think about how when he was so close to eating Annie.
Yeah.
Which is like, crazy.
What would have happened?
He would have had the healing power. He would have been fine for this mission. He had the crystal heals.
What was I gonna say? Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to say.
But yeah.
Oh, there's one. So, what Rod had said was he said that Frida's Titan is like by far the most powerful, but she didn't know how to use it, so she couldn't like win.
She didn't really have like the combat experience as well.
Yeah, we don't know what Titan Eren and his dad have. So like it just seems to be like a really aggressive, like just powerhouse.
Yeah. But, and then we learn cuz I guess it was like after he kills them all, because you see an image of like the dad leaving the church, like breaking through it essentially, and then because there's another flashback where we see Eren. It's like Eren in the woods that we saw before in a flashback with his dad holding the syringe, basically turning Eren into a Titan, like a little goblin Titan,
he looks so creepy,
and then eats his dad essentially, and then he's transformed back and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But you realize what he did, but his memories were just immediately changed though. So like I'm not sure if the last thing his dad did right as he ate him was, because all he had to do apparently I guess is touch somebody, or I don't know, the scaling of like the memory thing is weird. I don't understand yet.
So it seems like the memory thing can only be done by the royal family.
Yeah, but we saw when she did it to Historia, she got close to her head and like touched each other's head and then did it.
Yeah.
So,
but she was also royal. Like she had Frida's like totally royal.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I thought that was part of her your Titan power may have been just a memory,
yes.
or upscaling the power of the memory thing maybe. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and then Eren's dad transforms him, does the memory thing, and that's how we kind of got what happened.
Because Eren in the end of that scene, when he turns back human, so after he eats his dad, he does turn back human. And he sees his glasses and he realizes that his dad is dead. Yeah. Basically. But
we know he doesn't have his memories from that, then like that flashes of it.
Yeah, Eren has seemingly forgotten about that. Some way. Maybe we'll find out. I don't fucking know.
We'll see.
But I think that's kind of it. Like we really talked about
and they basically Levi squad about to infiltrate while Kenny squad is like ready to ambush essentially.
Yeah, we're like right before like the big confrontation, which is kind of like why I'm glad that they put all the political stuff like to bed, because now all we can care about is Levi squad versus Kenny squad. Like, give me more freaking Sakuga, please.
Kenny and the one blonde hair chick against all the characters we know, and Connie's there too.
Also, this is like the perfect like place for a fight because they have like a bunch of places to grapple onto.
Yes. So, anything else in your notes that we missed?
We didn't talk about Zachary's weird fetish.
Oh, yeah. Jim, like, the first thing, this guy's a fucking, like, sociopath. Then we see his like, psychopathic tendencies of just, like, weird, like, sexual torture.
It certainly is, like, sexual torture.
He's, like, upside down, naked, dressed up in a weird outfit, and he's, like, force feed. He's, like, a tube in his mouth, which you couldn't tell at first.
So, okay, it's very, very weird messaging from Zachary here, because, so he says all these things. He's like, you're never going to wear any clothes from the knees up from now on.
We're going to parade you outside once a week.
Which is horrifying to think that this is a way the society copes with tragedy.
He's, like, in the hallway talking to someone, and he's like, oh, yeah, before I retired, I probably would have tried this revolt thing as well, just because of why not.
Yeah, he literally said like, I don't really give a shit about like the future of humanity, which is funny. He's like completely polar to Pixis. Pixis' whole thing is that he does care, but he was just like, I don't give a shit. Like, I would have done it if it would have been funny. Basically, I would have done it for the Vine. But no, okay, I want to go back to this weird psychosexual torture thing. So he says you're going to be taking all your meals from your funnel now, and the funnel's in his ass, I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. But then he shoves like a tube into his mouth.
The whole like picture of it is really weird.
It's legitimately disturbing, and it's so fucking unprecedented in this series.
It's very bizarre. Like you could cut the scene and not like miss anything.
I really am just trying to figure out why this scene. I guess to make Zachary just scary.
You could just have the one guy dress up and saying like, "We're gonna parade you once a week," and then like that'd be it, and understand what's gonna happen to the guy.
It's frankly, to me, it's like it's so weird that they made it like a sexual thing.
I think he's a fucking crazy person.
But yeah, then on that note, I think we'll end this episode. I think this is like, I'm glad we just watched these 3 because there was a fuck ton to talk about. Especially all the stuff with Grisha, like getting that is like such a big catharsis. Seeing Grisha's Titan is like, and also seeing Frida's Titan.
The other female Titan.
With big boobies. Her boobs are so big. Also, yeah, you mentioned, we didn't mention this now, but when we were watching it, you said she looks like the most human, like Titan. Like, which, yeah, that's true. Whereas the female Titan looks really weird. She has like exposed muscle tissue and stuff.
Yeah, it looked like a weird like ghoul, like a ghoul from Fallout, but in Titan form.
It's funny too, because like the way Annie's boobs work is they're kind of just like.
Tell me, Jim, how does Annie's boobs work?
I'm just talking about character design here, Sam. I just think it's really funny that like because Annie's like when she's in Titan mode. Her boobs don't like have any movement or anything. They're just like basically a plate. But with this one, they decided to like give her big boobs, and they also kind of move around a lot. Mm-hmm. They're like fleshy sacks. It's really interesting that they decided to go this direction. I just wanted to point that out
for the brief they show of it.
Yeah,
but I'm excited to see because I guess we're gonna find out more stuff after all this action stuff. Because Eren's still kind of mind broken of maybe knowing he killed his dad. His dad also being a Titan, and then him being a woman.
A lot of surprises today for Eren.
Yes.
No, that really, Eren right now is about to enter, like, just based on his reaction. I don't think he said a single word this whole episode.
No, yeah.
He's about to enter, like, the big trauma arc.
He says, like, Historia at one point. That's, like, it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm excited.
Poor Eren. Poor Grisha. I find it so interesting that Grisha decided to murder all those women and children. That's really interesting.
The women and children, they killed them all like animals, Jim.
He did. He squished them like ants.
This is weird. His dad's really weird. I said he's in the League of Evil Dads, Jim.
I think that's pretty evil dad behavior. Murdering
another family?
Murdering a whole family of children.
During a weird culty, like, adventure under a church.
Hey, they were wearing white robes. It was pretty sus. I think he made the right decision.
He's like, I'm a doctor, but...
Destroy. All right. Anything else?
I guess nothing. I don't think so. Unless you want me to start plugging up the hole that we're gonna get to.
Plug the hole, Sam.
By the end of the season.
There's not too many more times we can do it before a hole plugging attempt will be made. So.
All right. Thank you all for listening through this. Please again like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, all the wonderful YouTube bullshit.
You can hit my bell. Sorry.
Or not. You can. Follow the podcast on Twitter and me and Jim separately as well. You can also join our Discord, and I believe that's everything.
Sounds good to moi.
All right, and then we'll see you next time. I'm not sure. We probably have 2 more episodes left of the first half of the arc, I'm guessing. So
certainly, yeah, we have 2 more, and then I really wonder. We might only have 2 in the second half. It might be like. It's so like
we had in the first season. So.
Yeah, it might be kind of like what we do with season 2, where it's basically we just do like 1 for the first half, 1 for the second half. So we'll see. We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. All right, and then we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Out of the Crystal Caves, hopefully.
See you next Titan Tuesday. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.